All right, guys, so here we are at Matic, and we're canning today. Well, we're not, but we're going to interview Scotty from Craft Punk. So we're going to work out how you get your beer from these big old silver fermenters into these little white bullets. Hey guys, well we're here at Matic today, which is pretty awesome, but we're also going to talk to Scotty from Craft Punk, who has this amazing machine going on down here, which puts all this lovely beer into cans. I'm drinking a new one that Matic have got coming out. It's probably out by the time you see this, but this is the Beer de Mer. It's Australian Pale Ale, it's desalinated water. They work with Viola. I think that's right. You guys will Viola. Alrighty, so we're going to listen to Scott. He's going to go through what all of this stuff does. Sure. I know what it all does. It puts beer in the can and we get to drink it. But
yeah, you've seen it a few times these days.
A few times.
So we've been around. So yeah, we've got Wild Goose Canning's WGC 250. This is actually 5-head. We've also got a 4-head. And we also use American Canning's feed-in and pack-out equipment. So essentially, once we get cans on the table, the plan is not to touch them again. So this feeds in at the rate that the canning line requires. We've got date coding happening just here, nice and clear. So that comes through here. And then the important bit, which is getting the cans filled and then seamed. So we're always monitoring inline temperatures, inline pressures from tank to fill head. And right now we are running approximately 44 cans a minute. So the beer's good, the beer's bang on carbonation, good temperature at 0.2 C, tank pressure is good at 14 PSI roughly, and we should be done with this beer in about 40 minutes.
Yep. Talk about fobbing. Why is fobbing important?
Okay, so the biggest danger to beer going into package is oxygen. So we do not want to be packaging oxygen with the beer, because obviously we're going to oxidize cans real quickly. So this is CO2. We've got a gentle flow of CO2 that we're monitoring here, which is evacuating the air from the can. So when the beer hits the can, it should be a minimum air environment. We then want a nice cover of CO2 bubbles on the surface, which comes under another CO2 gasser. And as the lid drop falls, it's falling through a curtain of CO2. Yep. So we're packaging minimum amounts of air in there. So when they test for DO in pack, you do it straight away. So as soon as it comes out the seamer, they usually give them a hard shake for 2 minutes to make sure that any air that's in there is incorporated through the entire can. Yep. And then it's a can piercer through the bottom, forced up through a dissolved oxygen tester. So ideally, you'd want to be under 50 parts per billion. Yep. So 50 ppb. Yeah. When we get them tested at all-in balance, we're usually sitting around about 25 to 35.
Yeah, sure.
Depending on the day, you know, some days cans 4 and 5 might be slightly higher than 1 and 2, just because it's taking them a little bit longer to get there. But generally speaking, we keep our DOs low. Yeah. We've never had an issue where there's been a brewer called up and said, hey, we've got 5,000 cans that are completely off.
Yeah.
So yeah, we come through here, we get the can seamed, and then pushes through the rinser.
So when that can seams, it's a double seamer, right? Like they wrap all the way around.
Correct. If you grab a lid.
I don't put my hands in there.
No, that's okay. So essentially the edge of the lid is curled like that, and the edge of the can is straight out. So the first roll comes in and curls them gently over. The second roll comes in and compresses them tight as the can's spinning at high RPM. So yeah, pushes through nicely, gets its rinse, gets its blow dry, and then onto our favourite piece of equipment, the labeler.
Yeah, so the rubber stamp here, what's going on? Like it's all spacing them out?
Yep, so he's spacing them out. So if we put a bunch there, it's spacing them out to roughly the length of a label.
Yep.
There's a little sensor here, tells the label head that there's a can coming. It starts counting its delay and then feeds the label, wraps it on.
Yep.
If they came through too close together, second can wouldn't get a label.
Right,
The machine realises that there's not enough space to get both labels fed.
So that laser there is dependent on the speed of the conveyor.
Yeah, so we've got line speed, At the moment we're running 14 metres a minute, and then when we go in to change our timings, that's essentially, it's a distance delay, but if you just think of it as a time delay, if the label's speeding too quickly, we'll just add a bit of delay on there. So we're just actually going to change labels at the moment, so we'll do a quick stop, change label reel, and then crack on.
Yeah, as you said, the label change is always the fun bit, hey?
Well, on this machine we stop. The forehead, we can keep running, we can pull cans off and accumulate them, and there's always enough space to get them in because this is running a bit faster. By the time you get them through, you know, you'd have been as well just stopping and take your time, get it done right. But yeah, label changes are, you know.
We tried our hardest to do everything not to get Dean on camera, but he insisted. He hates being left out, wants to be the centre of attention.
And then on startup of the new label reel, it usually takes a dozen labels for it to find its level back to where it was. So yeah, first few cans off will be a bit squinty.
When they go on, like, people don't realise, right? Like, they can skew left and right, up and down, because they need to be displayed, because otherwise if they go down too low, they get all crumply at the bottom if they go up too high.
So yeah, labelling can be challenging. Different stock, different backing, different printers. Like, we've had days where labels literally will not stick to cans. And it drives us mad. Because it makes us look bad, and we're like, you know, we've labelled millions of cans before. It's not us. We know what we're doing. It's the label. But look, generally speaking, we get stuff done. So yeah, through the labeller, into the labour-saving device for the brewery staff.
The end of this thing, which always scares the shit out of me, because it's got danger, pinch points, watch your hands, and then every time I yell out when something goes wrong here, you and friggin' Dean are shoving your hands in here and doing shit.
Don't tell anybody. It probably doesn't meet Australian health and safety standards. The Americans are a wee bit more free and easy with that kind of thing. But yeah, it's rapid and it saves the brewery a staff member. At least one staff member. It's not fun slapping these things on by hand. It's a long, boring day in high volume. But yeah, again, American Canning, excellent company out of Texas.
And so this can do the 6-packs and the 4s, right?
At the moment we got the little spacers in here, which is holding it for 4s. If we want to do 6s, we take these little spacers out and click the switch to 6, and off she goes. Easy. But it'll only use actual pack tech. It's not going to use any of these fancy new cardboard buttons or the Aussie made ones because of just that profile. And then at the end, you got to have a Jimmy. An automated pack. That's right. Well, you got to have a Jimmy at the start, because if you don't have a Jimmy, you don't have any beer.
Oh, well, so you need a Jimmy. And
that is Jimmy brings them.
That's right, One thing we missed, you got a set of scales here.
We do.
And I know many times you guys stand here and do like these things. It doesn't even look like you're doing, and I get confused.
You only put one on at a time.
Well, yeah, I know, but
that's what I don't know. You want me to show you the technique?
Yeah, go for it.
I'll show you the technique. So it's basically.
So what are we weighing?
So we're weighing gross weight. So we want to make sure that we've got 375 ml or whatever the volume of the can is. We weigh gross weight because once you start getting water and stuff on there, you'd be tearing off the whole thing. It's, roughly speaking, we're talking 13, 14 grams for can, lid and label. So ideally we'd be hitting 392, 393. If we're overfill, I don't mind that, because it means we've got less headspace to pick up oxygen, like we were talking about earlier. But yeah, we'll pass them gross weight 385-ish. So yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, we always want to make sure we've got nice full cans.
The beer styles, do you find anything that is tough to can, harder than others? Like, or is it, if the brewer can get the temp down, you're pretty much good to go?
Temp and carbonation are what makes or breaks a canning run. However, this might just be in the back of my mind. Anything with mango in it used to scare the hell out of me. Like, we did a mango milkshake IPA at Ballistic years back. We called it Madden's Curse, right? And everything that could have gone wrong with that beer, apparently from start to finish, went wrong. And on canning day, the foam was like expander foam coming out the neck of the can, lifting the lid up. So every time we pushed the lid into the seamer, the lid was being left behind with mash-ups, with Lockie was pulling his beard out, I was pulling my hair out.
Yeah,
It was a nightmare. And mango, something about mango and foam structure, but I'd love to know the science behind it, but it always seemed to be really thick and difficult to keep in the can. But other than that, as long as carb's good, temp's good, maybe some of the bigger, heavier beers, big imperial stouts can be a bit tricky. Last year's Kronos was a bit interesting because it poured flat and then it just swelled. It looked great and then it was swelling up in the can. So,
What do you reckon's been your favourite beer that you've canned?
Oh man.
Or even go a style, you don't even have to name
I'll say one of the standout beers that's gone down the line was the first Felon's Dark Side Bourbon Barrel Aged Imperial Stout. And I kept that in the fridge for probably 18 months. That was awesome. All In did a crazy triple dry hop super imperial hazy maybe 2 or 3 years ago called, it just had lots of letters on it. That was wild. Yeah, that was wild. But I mean, some of the solid core range beers, you know, like the lager from here, amazing. Jimmy's lager is superb. Some of the pale ales that we've done over the years, I mean, Black Hawk's pale ale when it first came out was really a defining beer, I think, for Queensland craft beer. Some of the stuff that Ian Watson was doing at Slipstream in the early days, G-Force, Billy Cart even.
I love that beer.
Yeah, Billy Cart was great. And then what Jake and Lockie were doing at Ballistic, Australian Psycho IPA, when it was, you know, Psycho, that was, I mean, I love canning that beer as well. Like, working with Jake and Lockie at Ballistic was a highlight, and Ev. And we'd get the tunes on and we'd pump big volumes out of there in the early days. There's been a lot of good beers.
COVID was good for you guys, hey?
COVID was awesome business-wise. I mean, it was terrible socially and financially in the general sense of things, as it was for everybody else. But yeah, we went from being we were on the edge actually. Sort of February 2020, we'd lost Slipstream and Ballistic as clients in the sort of July, August.
Because they bought their canning lines.
Bought their own canning lines. And we were in a bit of a lull. And COVID happened and the phone just lit up. At one point I was
because takeaways was the big thing, right? And no one had,
It was the only thing, but I was looking at the bank account going, all right, I need a pallet of pack tech, I need a pallet of cardboard, I've got probably 3 weeks wages to cover before I start getting anything in, and I'm going, shit, we might actually run out of money here. And again, Lisa's like, well, do we know that these breweries are going to pay us, because their main money earner, you know, their tap rooms have been shut down, are they going to pay us? And I said, well look, I'm not going to knock back people in need. On the fear that they're not going to pay us. If they don't pay us, again, that's on them. So we'll do the right thing. We'll do the job. We'll get it done. We'll give everybody the opportunity to make money, and hopefully we'll get paid eventually. And we did. And and it got to the point where, you know, there was guys pumping kegs back into bright tanks at breweries because they had literally nowhere to sell beer. And we took a little loan from the Queensland government. So they did a little, you know, emergency loan. So we were fortunate that I think we got 50 grand out of that. We knew that we would never qualify for the JobKeeper type stuff, so we never bothered applying for that. But then it turns out, you know,
didn't matter.
Everybody just talking to them, they went, see you later. So yeah, we could have a year's worth of free wages there, but we didn't get that one. But yeah, we were 7 days a week, public holidays. You know, there was very little downtime in 2020 and even into 21. But it made us enough money, we were able to buy the second line, and you know, there was minimal finance required. I think the finance was tough.
I think it helped a lot of breweries too, reach an external market and get their beer out to places where they wouldn't normally, into people's hands, because, you know, like a lot of little places wouldn't have had that opportunity. And resource-wise, like, we're not just plugged into power and beer here, we've got water. You got air,
we got CO2. Air. You can hear the compressor running. We've got a big compressor. The canning line's very air hungry. Everything on that except the seamer motor and the label, the conveyor belt, are moving on air power. So yeah, it's chewing through a lot of dry air. Got the dryer out there as well. And the good thing about that is that all these moving parts are pretty much you know, unbolt and bolt off, bolt on. And they come from Festo, so they're accessible. I've got an extensive spare parts inventory. But yeah, if one of those pistons or cylinders goes bad, off it comes, gear one on.
Yep.
And with our downtime over the years, I mean, we've been going 7 years next month.
Yep.
But I could count on one hand the amount of days that we've lost to breakdown.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'll touch wood on that one. But you know, it's this machine, this Wild Goose canning line, and the other one, the Forehead, have been super reliable.
Yep.
Super
What about
reliable.
CIP?
CIP's pretty easy. We run with a couple of corner kegs. So at the end of the canning run, everything gets a hose down, and then it's a powder brewery wash substitute, so a non-caustic alkaline powder, pure lime from Sakura.
Yep.
Run that through the beer lines, hot rinse, and then we either use a phosphoric sanitizer or a periscopic sanitizer.
Yeah.
And we switch that up every now and then.
Yeah. Do you keep it in the lines or do you blow it clear?
We keep a low dosage of the sanitizer in overnight, and then the next morning we run a higher concentration through, and we're ready to roll.
Yep. Do you drink a lot of beer from every line? Like, do you always... do you enjoy much beer at home without critiquing it, or...?
I'm not a beer geek, but I'm not a beer nerd the way that some people are beer geeks. No, I mean, I like hoppy IPAs.
I don't even like beer.
But, you know, you won't find me a taste of tartness or anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm not a big sour fan. Generally, I'm sort of winding back on the boozing a bit because it just stacks away on me.
I know what you're talking about.
And as we get older, as we become more middle-aged, I look at myself in the mirror some days and go, man.
Like, I must have had my middle age in my 20s because I've...
Yeah, well, me too. So yeah, I'm not really drinking much at home, and the way I do that is I don't take beers home. Because in the early years of this business, the fridge was full, and it was, you know, 5 or 6 cans
every night.
And it gets to you, you know, it comes Thursday, Friday morning, where you've got a 5 o'clock start somewhere. It's like,
well, at Helios, Charlie introduced me to the AFD, alcohol-free day.
Yep.
And it was on account of...
behind the wheel, remember?
Yep.
There you go, you remember.
I remember, it was on account of him that I stopped having alcohol on a few days. Because I felt guilty every now and again when I was like, oh, I'm having a beer, and he's going, no, I'm on an AFD, and I'm like, well, I'm enjoying a Kronos.
Yeah.
But it is important, hey?
I think so, yeah.
I do that quite often now. Might surprise people.
In this industry, it can be very, very easy to get a little bit too
have
comfortable.
A bit too much
it's not even that you're having too much and you're out of control, but it's just that, you know, 3 or 4 beers a day, every day.
Yeah.
Maybe not the healthiest lifestyle, but yeah, I think we're all growing up a little bit now.
Yeah.
And we're getting the sensible heads on.
So this year, muchas gracias. You guys have come on as a title sponsor for us.
We did, yeah.
Yeah. What was, first off, thank you.
No, that's all right.
Yeah,
You're
massive
welcome.
thanks as well. What was the reasoning behind that? I'm sure people hit you up often to...
Actually, not very often. We've never had to advertise at all, and I would say we still don't need to advertise, but I see you guys around.
I'm not sure that our 4 listeners will help you out much either.
That's all right, but I've known you guys for years. I know that you're doing this for the love of it.
Yeah.
And when I saw that you were looking for another sponsor to jump on it, why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Mate, no, it's much appreciated, and it's awesome, worries. And we're looking to do heaps of cool shit with you as
you're
we
welcome.
go. It's there's even something in the pipeline that you might not even know about yet, but I've been trying to talk to someone, and there might be an ABV collab thing going down the line.
Yeah, I don't know anything.
Who know.
I don't know anything in the craft beer scene in Queensland. Nobody tells me anything.
If you could go to any brewery in the world, where would you go, and why that brewery?
Okay, I'd love... No, I drove past Tennants in the bus every day since I was 5 years old. No, I'd like to go to Russian River in Northern California. So when I went to California to learn how to can, the girls at the Can Band took me in for 2 weeks and taught me the skills, and I'll be forever grateful to Jen and Lindsay there. Russian River were not quite canning at that point, but I was there just in time for a Pliny
Yeah.
release,
Cool.
which was amazing.
Yeah.
And about a year after I'd been to Sacramento, the girls started canning at Russian
Yeah.
River. So yeah, it looks like a beautiful, amazing big brewery.
Yep.
Lovely location.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I love Northern California. I haven't been there since 2016, but yeah, it was good times.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to share with the crowd and camera? And
No, I just say thanks to all the clients over the years for supporting
Yep.
us and letting us, trusting us with their beer.
yeah.
I hope that everybody's had a good experience, and if they haven't, we've solved their problems as quickly
Yeah.
as possible. Obviously, 8 million cans, nothing's ever going to be perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's the one thing I've prided myself on, is that we've always tried to do what's right by the client.
Yep.
When there's been issues, we fix them.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks to everyone that's supported Craft Punks over the last 7 years, and hopefully over the next 7 years.
7 years ago. Yeah.
But
Nice.
interesting times for craft beer.
Definitely.
We'll see where the next 12 months.
Yeah,
bring.
that's right.
Yeah.
They might come out with some sort of new thing, then you've got to start working out how
No-
to package that.
Nothing will surprise me.
Cheers, man.
No, cheers to you.
Thank you.
Thanks, mate.